Have you ever noticed that people that have been through narcissistic trauma have some peculiar, odd habits? We're going to be looking into this because the lives of narcissistic abuse, it leaves marks. You might not see physical wounds sometimes, but there's invisible wounds called trauma. These are emotional and psychological wounds. So it's not just what the narcissist has done, it's actually impacts the victim on a daily routines. And it can seem really strange for the people who haven't been through this and really doesn't make any sense. But each of these habits has an underlying story, and it actually makes complete sense when we look at science. My name is Dr. Kaur, and today we're going to be looking at the 4 key areas that's a little bit odd after narcissistic abuse. It's probably one of the most important videos that I'm doing to share this with you. So please do watch right till the end so you can understand and maybe help someone move forward, or maybe help yourself move forward after narcissistic trauma. The one peculiar and the most important peculiar habit that someone that's been through narcissistic trauma is rumination. What is rumination? Rumination is one of the number one things that causes depression. It's basically when you're going over something over and over and over again. You want to talk to people about it. You're thinking about it. You're analyzing it. You're going over it. It's almost a bit obsessive. It's a habit. It's a habit of thought of going over everything and over analyzing everything. You might wonder, this is really odd behavior, and it actually really takes its toll on you listening to the same thing over and over again. But it's actually created from self-doubt. It's feeling like a failure all the time. Now, we've all felt like a bit of a failure when we're scrolling through social media and seeing all these perfect people out there that show that they're having the best life ever. And we can feel like, oh, I should have achieved more. They're doing so well. And why can't I just move forward? Well, imagine that times 100. The number one reasons why people get depressed and feel like a failure is because we are taught to think about, talk about, and analyze and reflect and go over and over and over something when we've got wrong. Just remember when we went to school, our teachers only told us pretty much when we're doing something wrong so that we could improve. Well, imagine being with someone that constantly criticizes your every move, constantly tells you you're not good enough, maybe with an eye roll, maybe with a little snigger. These are such small things, but it's the accumulation of it every day, having a belief implanted into your subconscious that you are not good enough. The way you think isn't good enough. What you do isn't good enough. What you say isn't good enough. What you wear isn't good enough. Sometimes what you buy in a shop isn't good enough. That you have to be controlled in every single way. That you don't know, you're not good enough, the way you pick things. Imagine that every single day. You don't have time to breathe. Over time, you will start to doubt yourself. Those people that have been through narcissistic abuse, they're manipulated so much that they believe they can't do anything right. So they doubt themselves. They're always second guessing. They're always trying to analyze, what is that person thinking? Did they accept me? Did I do that right? They're second guessing. They've lost their confidence. They don't trust and believe in themselves anymore. You know, if you think, they don't leave any room for grey. It's either black or white. And when you're doing something wrong, it's like a big mountain out of a molehill. It's over the top that you feel like you've done something horrendously wrong. You see, there's no grey, there's no forgiveness, there's no room for movement. And this is what it's like to be in a toxic relationship. So even after the relationship is over, that person can ruminate. That person is addicted to thinking about, talking about, and feeling and they can't get over that addiction. They can't let it go because they can also see the injustice of everything. They're going over everything over and over and over again. And the problem with this is rumination. Why rumination is a problem is the more we think about our problems, the bigger they get. So just imagine this person, they're thinking about and talking about and analyzing, and sometimes going to the wrong therapist where they're talking about and looking at what they did and what they did. And unfortunately, they will get depressed because the more you focus on the problem, the bigger the problem gets, the more you get depressed, to the point where we feel like you can't even get out of bed. You can't even do the things that you used to be able to do. And it's actually an addiction. They can know they don't want to be talking about it, but they can't help it. So they need someone to help them stop that rumination. So if they have a therapist that's indulging in that rumination, it's harming them. Try to help them see that they need to perhaps look at what they want. Maybe get some temporary relief, have some fun, have something, go for a walk, meditate, exercise, even doing a daily chore is better than thinking about your problems over and over again. So they can start to get that relief. Try and help them talk about other things, fun things, so they laugh again like they didn't laugh. The other thing, number 2, peculiar thing, is that they look like they've lost their life and soul. It's like their energy has been sucked out of them. They've lost their life almost. And sometimes it could be that it's all, it appears that they look amazing. They've got an amazing social media and everything on the surface is fantastic. It could be that they live in a mansion, but yet when within closed doors, they're being abused horrifically. It's like torture. And so many people in controlling relationships, they appear to be everything's okay, but it's all about image. It's like looking right. But if you can see, they feel like they've lost their life. They've lost their motivation. They've lost them, the spark, the willingness to engage. It's like they're numb. They're just numb, or they're overwhelmed. It's like they're not really there anymore. It's like they're not who they used to be. And they're basically living in fear and dealing with anxiety and trauma every single day. So if they're doing peculiar things like you offer them a lift home, and you're just being friends, and they kind of say no, as if they're scared, almost like rejecting you, it could be that their partner is suggesting that you're having an affair with them. I know it could seem ridiculous to you, but trust me, toxic people manipulate. And what they're doing behind closed doors could be that they're telling their partner that they're having affairs with everyone. And that means that they're scared to get in the car with you just in case their partner then gives them a hard time at the end of the day, or maybe physically abuses them in some way. So if someone starts to isolate and starts to not do things which are normal for people to do, and it seems peculiar, it could be that they're isolating themselves from you for a particular reason. 1, they don't want to get triggered. 2, they don't want to get into trouble with the narcissist because they're dealing with a horrific life behind closed doors. To you, the narcissist will become charming and lovely and fantastic and all smiles and funny, but behind closed doors, they're accusing you of having an affair with them. And they're not allowed to look your way, to see you, to talk to you. They feel scared. So if you're noticing a peculiar, odd reaction where they're not really doing the same and they're getting ill a lot and they're stressed a lot, It's because that when there's a gap between who you are and the life that you're living and the pretense that you're putting on, when there's a big gap, there's a huge amount of stress, and they're dealing with high levels of stress. So they will do peculiar things and they will be exhausted because it takes huge amount of energy to put on a show for the narcissist, because the narcissist is all about show, it's all about illusion, it's all about pretense, and they're having to do it even though they don't want to. Okay, 3. And they were a high achiever, and you've noticed that their career isn't doing as well, or it's a standstill. They're not doing as much. They're not as motivated as they used to be. They're just exhausted. You have to understand, when someone's been in a toxic relationship, their habits have changed. When we're talking about habits, it's the habitual habits of thinking and feeling. They feel habitually different every day. They feel different in terms of the thinking that they're having. So I'm talking about how they feel within themselves, about themselves. Now the habit, the way they view themselves and what they feel within themselves is probably anxiety, trauma, stress, fear, uncertainty, they've self-doubt, all these things habitually they're going through, and that is their new habit now. So obviously, if someone used to be like a go-getter and used to think positive thoughts all the time, even though they still might be positive view on the surface, when they go home, they're battling with all these negative thoughts and negative feelings every single day. We have thousands of thoughts every day, and these are habits of thoughts and feelings, and our brain is set up to create patterns within everything. So if they have been through something like this, there's a pattern going on over and over and over again. If someone has hurt you or told you you're not good enough, you will repeat those thoughts within yourself over and over and over again, and they will proactively think that. Now they have to go through and change those habits within themselves in terms of what they think and what they feel within themselves. At the moment, they're going through survival mode. They're not thriving, they're surviving. They've lost maybe their understanding of their talents and things like that. So they're not going to be wanting to do things to get energized as such. They're wanting to just feel a bit better within themselves, and they don't know how to do it. They can't go back to the way they were because their habits have changed, and now they need to proactively change their habits. So if you can help them in some way change and transform them by helping them think about who do they want to become now. That's happened, yes, but what do you want to habitually think about? What do you want to habitually feel? And help them move towards some of that. Now, if you think they would benefit from my masterclass, I do have a masterclass that talks about what happens in the brain, and you can see the links below and you can pass that on to them. Number 4, they feel lost, no meaning in life. They feel the same in terms of having fun. They might not laugh like they used to. And they're constantly trying to guess what other people are saying, and they're trying to pretend that they're okay when they're not okay. They might be double checking things, carrying their phone around with them all the time, scared. Or you might notice they get triggered when they do get a text or something. You might even find they're double locking things or checking things or over cleaning or overdoing things, to try and get some control in their life, or even spending a lot of time on their own. They don't have the energy to pretend. It takes so much time and energy to pretend that maybe they just want to be by themselves, and they don't want to risk being triggered, because they are more likely to be triggered now more than ever. The littlest thing can really hurt because they are more sensitive than they used to be. So to you, it might seem like, well, I just only said this, I was just having a laugh. But actually, they've heard that so much from at home, where they're just getting criticized over and over again. You need to fill their cup with some good stuff, help them get their confidence back. So, and sometimes, you might even find that they're repeating stuff over and over again because they just want to be heard. They're repeating the same thing, the same sentence over and over again. And they over apologize. They say sorry when someone else done something wrong. It's just a habit. And the other thing that you'll find is they're avoiding eye contact. Remember what I was telling you about how they've been told potentially that they're having affairs with everyone? Well, they're going to be avoiding eye contact because they're kind of like hiding how they really feel, and they don't feel like they can have eye contact with anyone because they've lost their confidence. And you might even notice they have panic attacks or have a higher level of anxiety, and it doesn't make sense to you why they're behaving like that. The last thing I really want to talk about is when you do give them love, when you do appreciate them, maybe they start to cry because it's been so long since someone appreciated them and told them how much they mean to them, someone means to them, or that how much they mean to you. And about their talents and gifts, they might even say, oh, no, because they're numbing that. They don't know how to receive anymore. They're numbing, they're crying. And if it does sink in, if you do connect with them, it can trigger these emotions within them. I really hope that this helps you help someone who might be going through narcissistic abuse. And if it is that you found this useful, please do share it with others, and maybe share it with a person and explain that you understand more. It wasn't fair what they've been through, and it was horrific. But now you get it. You get that they need more support and you want to be there for them. And remember, please be loving and compassionate and understanding like a true friend, and ask them to do that for themselves as well. And if you can, please subscribe and share. We want to liberate ourselves from trauma so that people can create the life they want after narcissistic trauma. Remember, you are worthy of creating the life you love. And so is that person that has been through narcissistic trauma too.